the Lord's done for me. So Waitangi weekend 2022, I've been having some funny, for years, some funny symptoms before that and gone into ED, but never got past the front door. I would just be sent home again. And this particular day, I was out at Chaz and Sweelan's farm and had a wonderful day of fellowship and went to say something on a conversation and couldn't remember what I was going to say. And then the second thing that happened was I couldn't remember the conversation. So I thought, right, I better, I've had a long day, I'll jump in the van and drive home. And just a real blessing of the Lord, I was going to get in that van on my own because Jordan and Daniel were playing a board game that also involved a cell phone as well. And just amazingly of the Lord, the cell phone ran out of battery exactly as I was leaving, which meant they had to end that board game, and that's the only reason that Daniel jumped in the van with me at that time, which was super relevant because as I'm driving down the highway to go home, I have an epileptic seizure as I'm driving. And I'm able to pull to the side of the road, but I have Daniel in the car, which is just so incredible, and we were able to swap seats inside the car for safety. And though he hadn't driven an automatic and wasn't sure of the way home, I was able to stay with it enough to tell him that. And I just remember Daniel saying to me, Mum, shouldn't we be praying? And I'm like, yes, once we get home. Shouldn't I actually be driving you to the hospital? Yes, but we'll just get home. And then, praise the Lord, by the time I got home, all my symptoms were gone. But Jordan and Daniel were amazing. Jordan did the stroke test. We had a little refrigerator magnet that said test, F-A-S-T, so Jordan did that, and I passed that. And then I said to Daniel, I'm fine, and he completely ignored me and rang Healthline. So the 19-year-old son did very well, and Healthline said, do not call an ambulance, bring her into the hospital right now. One of you drives and one of you stays with her at all times. And so finally, got into the hospital, and Daniel explained the situation and finally got through the doors. And they did a scan and discovered that large white mass in my brain. So the two right-hand photos are my before photos, before surgery. So I'll just point out. And what that is squashing in this picture over here is my cerebral peduncle, and that's what governs your ability to move. And if you have a stroke, as Mary understands, and you get affected by that. So, it was just incredible. I ended up being on my own when I was told this. Because of COVID, Daniel had to go, and then I sent Wayne home at 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So I was on my own, and I just had total peace from the Lord, which is so, so amazing. My emergency nurse was crying. So I was actually comforting my emergency nurse because she was so caring. She was actually weeping. And and I just had this peace from the Lord, for which I'm really, really grateful. And those of you that know me know that over where it was, you can see how close to the brainstem it was, so they didn't want to operate on that. But what happened was it was a cavernoma, which is like a raspberry of capillaries that forms in your brain that's not meant to, and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger sometimes, which is my case, and bleeds as well, and that's why I'd be having all those weird symptoms each time it bled. And as it got bigger and bigger, it squashed my cerebral peduncle more and more, and those of you that were with me just saw me get more and more paralysed down the right-hand side. So then, if you want to flick over to, I don't even know who's pushing this, sorry, thank you. That's just when it was getting to its worst, and they were deciding to actually do something about it. Thank you. Yeah. And then when... I also lost the ability to talk properly, those of you that know me from then as well. And eventually it got to the point where they hadn't wanted to operate because permanent paralysis was really dangerous. But in the end, I was getting so paralysed anyway. After 9 months, they were like, actually, we want to risk the surgery. So I got to have great fellowship with Simon on his birthday, and the Lord just helped me get to the point through a conversation of deciding, okay, we'll actually go ahead and have the surgery. And that is what the surgeon showed me. So yellow is what he's taken out. Yeah, so it's quite incredible when you see that and he's like, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm going to remove. But here I still am, praise the Lord. Yeah, if you want to have a look at the next one. So that's the way things were. I was paralysed down the right side. the first thing on, it'll be your left there, was a toilet surround so that I could actually use the toilet. The one next to it was my amazing bath and shower still, which meant if I hadn't had that, I would have had to have someone come every single day and shower me. But because of that, I was actually able to use the shower myself, which was awesome. And then I had a leg brace because I had foot drop, which meant that my foot was like this and I could never lift it up, which also happens with a stroke. And the knee brace helped me move my leg enough to take a step with my walker, and I also had a hand brace as well, which was great, so I had a tiny bit of movement in my fingers, and then the wonderful, wonderful walker that I did kilometres with, and then my kitchen stool, and then my thing that helped me sit up in bed. So that's what my life was like for 9 months. Yeah, and praise the Lord, look now. Okay, and the next one. So yeah, that just shows close up my walker and my hand brace and my leg brace. There we go. And the next one, thank you so much. That is my one-handed chopping board. They are a fantastic invention because when you can only use one side of your body, you can't butter a Mary knows, you can't butter a slice of toast, you can't cut a slice of toast, you can't do any of that with one hand. So what you do is you put your bread in this, and it holds it in place for you so that you can use your one hand to butter it and you can use one hand to cut it. And the sticks hold things like if you want to cut a carrot or something like that. And the really amazing thing was the hospital worker that brought that to my house said, "Joanna, I did your style course years ago." And when I woke up from surgery, the first thing I heard from a nurse was, "Joanna, I did your style course years ago." So it was quite funny. Okay, and the next one, thanks. So I lost the ability to write, and I actually had a friend that wasn't in the Lord, and she knew how important the Lord was to me, and she wanted to keep me writing, so she said, "Joanna, you've got to write a Bible verse every day." So that was really good. And on the next slide, you'll see the last Bible verse I wrote before my healing. So I mean, I cannot read that. I cannot tell you what Bible verse that was. So it's just so amazing to have that ability back again and be able to play the piano again and be able to apply makeup again, because those were all the things that made me me. And now I've got my right hand back and I can do that, praise the Lord. Yeah. That is, of course, your wedding, Rodrigo. And I was so sad that I couldn't do Renee's wedding makeup, but yeah, it was so wonderful to be able to be there. And the next one is with Donna, and that's just before my surgery. And if you look at my face, you can see half of it is paralysed. And the joke I used to make was like, well, this is like Botox, it makes the wrinkles disappear. But I was very, very happy to get my wrinkles back. Very happy to get my wrinkles back. Okay, and the next one. So praise the Lord, this is after the surgery. Now, what the surgeon was trying to do was improve my paralysis, like have it not so bad. What the Lord did with everybody praying all around the world in the Spirit for healing for me was completely remove my paralysis. And to this day, the medical people cannot believe it. So if I go into ED for any other reason, like for instance, breaking my toe, spraining my foot, or a concussion, which have been my last 3 visits, they just read the notes before they see me, and they cannot believe their eyes when they walk in and see me, and they all of them drop their medical demeanour, and they all just go, wow. All of them, every single one, all the nurses and all the doctors cannot believe that the person they've just read about in the medical notes is the person that's in front of them. So that's such a lovely reminder for me every time I have any medical contact. It's like what the Lord's done is just amazing. And my surgeon's written remarkable recovery in my medical notes, and they don't normally put that in your medical notes. And he said to me, "Where's your leg brace?" 1 month after my surgery, because I was meant to be wearing it. I hadn't worn it since I'd gone into surgery. And he just couldn't believe that. Yeah, just never needed it again. I walked in the intensive care unit. They were trying to stop me doing that, but I was just so excited that I could walk again. So it's incredible. So yep, that was straight after my surgery. I'm not sure will the video work, Luke? Okay, that's right. So what this is showing, you get muscle atrophy, and you've got to get all of those muscles strengthened and working again. So the very first exercise I had to get my wrist being able to go up and down was to put my arm on the coffee table, hold the TV remote, and it was my weight. And yeah, then I would do that, say 10 times, 3 times a day. So it just shows you what the Lord's done to go from that to, well, in my case, I know I always talk about this, but it's such a miracle from the Lord. I'm a runner. We have some runners in the room, and I like doing 5K park run. And it's just so amazing. I've been paralysed, and I'm like 8 years older than when I first started. In fact, I first started with you two. Yes, it was the first time I did it. It was at a Christmas camp. And I'm faster now in my 50s than I was in my 40s, which is just crazy, and post-paralysis. And I've gone from like this normal time to Christchurch competitive time to now I'm just on the edge of South Island competitive time for my age, for 5K. Like after all of this has happened. So the Lord's done this like immense healing. It's been absolutely amazing. Okay. And that's just how I feel now, like just to have left all those things behind, and I don't know, there might be another. Yeah, there we go. So it's just so incredible because you can see those metal bars, they had to be put in so I could even get in and out of the house, They were my disability bars that they came and put in, and to actually be able to leave all that behind because of the healing that I've had from the Lord is absolutely amazing. And he did even more after my surgery. I got brain injury from the cavernoma and from the surgery. So I got aphasia, so I didn't know words to name things. I couldn't understand questions. Like instructions, couldn't read and couldn't write, And the Lord has restored all of that amazingly. And they said I would never work again. They didn't tell me that until I got back to work. They were kind. So, they didn't. But I just remember my OT saying to me, I'm passing you on to a vocational OT now to help you get back to work. And this is so amazing because medically I never thought you'd ever be able to work again. And when you start teaching your style and makeup classes, I'm going to come along as a student. The staff are just so caring and just so wonderful, and just can't believe the miracle that the Lord has done. So I'm just incredibly, incredibly grateful to the Lord.